What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. We're coming off a exciting Google Analytics 4 video, kind of something I've never done before, but with the help of my boy Jeff Hunter, we put together what I thought was a hell of a good time. And anyone who watched it, like I told my boy Sean Armour, consider yourself certified. Don't go looking too much deeper into it. I mean, it is very simple. And is unnecessary to carry yourself farther than I took you. I'm telling you that as a friend. So hope you take it to heart. This week, we are going to revisit a fun little thing I like to call Sean Unplugged. This is volume 2. Those of you who know me that I don't take time off well. I don't disconnect from my phone. I don't do any of it well. As a matter of fact, leading up to this planned trip with my wonderful wife and our pup, I was stressed out to the max. The idea of being away from my phone and not paying attention to my company and not paying attention to my clients and their needs seemed really, really, really weird to me. So I was stressed out. So the day came where I knew that I was going to be putting in a conscious effort to be away from the device. All right, not be in the device. And so I booked a place that was in the middle of nowhere on a lake with no TVs. And the guy said reasonable internet. Turned out it was really awesome internet. I'll get to why in a second, how I know that. But so I basically, talked with the wife and we were like, look, I'm going to stay out of the phone all day. And then at night at some point, I'll probably get into it just to check on things. And then I will get quickly out of it. So in almost an entire day, we left on my actual birthday and we drove and we did everything and we were stopping and we were hiking and it was awesome. And I hadn't been in this thing but once. But let me tell you something. It's like, so I'm an addict, right? Of almost anything you can think of. And so the phone is no different. So as it sits next to me, it just, it's like talking, right? It's like, check me, you know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So you've got to get past the fighting of it first to realize that nothing is going to, don't pick it up, don't pick it up, don't pick it up. That took like 4 hours. All right. So then that was over. And then unfortunately, I'm someone of in excess, as I mentioned, my addiction problem. The in excess part of it is that when I like something, I like it. So I dive 120% into that shit. So then I'm not on the phone for 2 hours, then I'm on the phone for 4 hours, and you're starting to have like this euphoric moment where you haven't been in a thing and you're like, I don't even care, right? So holy shit, I don't even care. Then it all comes back where you're like, oh my God, I haven't been on my phone for 6 hours. What am I going to do? How am I going to help? So we went through the day. We had plans. We got into the lake house, around 6 o'clock and we're hanging out and we're still talking, and she looks at me and she's like, "You didn't pick it up once on the drive. What's going on?" She's like, "You trying to prove something to me?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I'm trying to prove to myself too. Like, nothing's gonna go wrong, right? Like, even if whatever does go wrong isn't gonna sink my company. It's been 10 years. We have clients all over the country. The business has grown to the point where 1 cancellation, 2 cancellation, 5 cancellation, 10 cancellation. It doesn't close anyone's doors. It's been difficult for me to see that side of it, okay? So I did see it. I embraced it. I hop in the phone that night. Actually, I text my business partner first. I'm like, I've been on the phone all day. He's like, you're not missing anything. And I said, I'm just trying to track this one thing that had happened before I left. And he's like, you're not missing anything. And even though he had said that, I still checked my phone. And nothing had happened. Nothing had happened. It was a Tuesday, so my LinkedIn world is really heavy Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I post. So it wasn't really a big deal there. And I noticed that it just, I don't like notifications. Like, I don't like knowing that 19 things are waiting for me, 30 things are waiting for me. No, I don't like it. So the second I get something, I like to take care of it because then it's done, right? But that's the addict in me's excuse for always having to be in the tech. And now I know that. So anyhow, here we are, right? We're going through it, getting away from it. We're there. We did it. had a great time. It was awesome. And had daily was out of the thing for like 8 to 10 hours. Like, it was crazy. Like most people, I think, whether you know it or not, your phone is like basically a tracker of your work, what you do when you go in, and that thing's really eye-opening to someone like me when you realize how much time you spend on your phone, and where you're at, what apps you use. It's kind of creepy. But then I got like a notification after like 3 days. It's like, oh my God, you haven't been on your phone at all. Like, it's down to 100% type thing. And so I was like, oh, interesting. This is okay. So I started to let go of work, and there was a point that came, and I was just telling a story to a buddy of mine with my wife, is that there came a point where on like day 3, where I was just sitting outside, staring out at the lake and the trees, and I guess my mouth was wide open. It's like, whatever. I don't really want to reenact it, I guess. But my wife came in, and she comes in the room that I was in staring outside, and she says, you okay? I kind of turned to her like, yeah, what? What's wrong? She's like, dude, you look lost. She looked like something's wrong. And I just kind of said it like this. It's empty. She's like, what are you talking about? It's my head. There's nothing in it. I'm just looking at the water and the trees, and I'm processing the water and the trees. That's it. And this last year, her and I have been through a lot. And it was the first moment, not even this year, man. I mean, all of us collectively as a culture have been through a lot in the last 3. And I hadn't felt that way since before all that. So it was a moment for me where I kind of realized that I need to figure out how to accomplish this more regularly. And I don't mean going away, which honestly doesn't matter. The way that I run my business is based on deadlines. As long as I have the internet, I can do it from anywhere. But I don't mean that I have to get away to do it. I mean that day to day, I have to find a way to empty the mind. Somehow, some way. And I think being in the phone, being a part of the phone is going to be a part of that. And honestly, most of my clients that needed to know knew where I was, knew that they could find me if they needed to. I go out of my way to do that for people because we're still in a business together. And even though we're not in a business that can break, or like, I'm not fucking IT support, right? So like, people, that's not what people call me for. But when people do call me with an issue, I like to be there to take care of it, because either it festers and they think about it more, or they make a decision based on it not having feedback because they couldn't get a hold of someone. So there's a lot of that, but that's a lot of me shit, right? That's not a lot. No one's ever said that to me. No one's ever said, Sean, you're unavailable to me. I said it to me. So being unplugged, man, it was super helpful and led to a week's long enjoyment. Shit, we were getting referrals for our business while I was on vacation. It's one of those things that you're like, and normally I would just jump. I'd be like, oh my God, someone wants to do business. No, it's the business is going to be there. And it's not here. Do you want to know the true fact of it? I said this out loud to my wife the other day. The true fact of it is my 80% is better than most people's 110. That's the fucking reality of it. And I still do 110. And that's where I need to say to myself that that's a me thing. That's a me thing. So I don't want to be at 80, but I don't need to be at $110. So let's try and find the medium, because I believe the way that I do business, the way that we collectively do business here, our 80 is better than people's 100. So I needed to sort of, it's not about relaxing, it's about maybe softening just a touch on expectations that are unrealistic, because that is something that I can tell you from me to you, that I set the most unrealistic of expectations on most things in my life. That includes people in my life, processes in my life. I don't give a shit what you are. You could be a waiter, and you don't know this, but I have expectations are through the roof of what we're about to do. And that's me shit. That is not other people's shit. So this was not meant to turn into a mental health Monday, because we don't need those. We already had a great one with Jamie Bowe this month. So that's not what this was. This was about letting you know how I got through being unplugged, how it turned into just pure enjoyment after being stressed and putting myself through the ringer about trying to not work, which is just so pathetic of me, but it happened. So for all of you out there who are like, I can't unplug, I don't have time, that's not me. Try it. See what happens. Give it a chance. And you may find that nothing actually breaks, and it allows you to get to where you need to be. And for me, as someone who runs a company, is trying to expand that company, as well as, has a social media presence that I am personally responsible for, it can be a lot. So taking those breaks, refilling those coffers, giving yourself the opportunity to get back to zero is something I think we all deserve. So thank you so much. Next week on the show, I'm going to kind of continue with the deeper cuts here. We're going to talk about mentors. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have yourselves a great week.